audience to close your eyes and imagine that you're a pediatrics doctor. Your longtime patient is a 10-year-old boy who suffers from epilepsy. After prescribing every available medication, the only successful treatment left would be medical marijuana, which has been proven to combat epilepsy and many other medical conditions. Imagine how his mother feels in having to watch him lay there on the ground in panic and having seizures every single day without being able to do anything about it. Watching his helpless little face as he bears through the pain. Kids his age should be out playing and having the time of their life, not dealing with such a serious condition. Now you have to explain to your 10-year-old patient and his parents that the only way he can receive his treatment is by moving to a different state where medical marijuana is legal. On the contrary, picture being able to prescribe medical marijuana to this 10-year-old boy in his home state and being able to change his life drastically. You now have a chance to stop the suffering of so many children and adults. Medical marijuana is still federally illegal. It is illegal in most states, and according to the New England Journal of Medicine, a wide-ranging survey in California finds that medical marijuana patients agree. 92% said that medical marijuana alleviated symptoms of their serious medical conditions, including chronic pain, arthritis, migraine, and cancer. Even then, the United States chooses to ignore these facts. Now open your eyes. According to the National Cancer Institute, in 2016, an estimated 1 million new cases of cancer will be diagnosed in the United States, and about 500,000 people will die from this disease. Also, according to talkaboutcuringautism.org, more children will be diagnosed with autism this year than with AIDS, diabetes, and cancer combined. These are the numbers that will continue to rise without the legalization of medical marijuana. My name is Austin Alvarez, and today I will be talking about medicinal marijuana and the effects of legalizing it. By the end of my speech, you will have learned the positive and life-changing outcomes that medical marijuana can provide in a person's life. The 3 points I'm going to discuss today are: would patients with diseases and medical conditions be better off, which I'll be talking about going into the common misconceptions of this topic and the truth behind them. Would it boost the U.S. economy, which will show the economic impact of marijuana? What would be the consequences? This will be about the kind of things people are going to go through without the legalization of medical marijuana. Now that I've stated my 3 main points, I'd like to address my first point: would patients with diseases and medical conditions be better off? According to the Medical Marijuana Association, there are many common misconceptions people have about marijuana. The first thing people usually say about marijuana is that you will get addicted to it. The reality of the matter is that only 9% of people who use marijuana are addicted to it. For the vast majority of users, marijuana will not lead to addiction. People can quit whenever they choose to. They also explain how many people think that using marijuana can lead to death. Actually, there has never been an overdose death that has been linked to the sole use of marijuana. People are extremely misinformed and they refuse to look at the facts. Studies have shown that pharmaceutical drugs are far more deadly than marijuana. Lastly, some will say that marijuana does not help medical patients and they just want it to get high. Current patients will attest that its therapeutic benefits are in fact real and benefit many patients with a wide variety of illnesses and symptoms. Now that I've explained to you some of the misconceptions people have about marijuana, I'll tell you how the U.S. economy would benefit from it. According to Marijuana Business Daily, this chart shows the total economic impact that medical marijuana industry has had and is projected to have in the future for the U.S. The darker orange here comes from dispensary and stores. The lighter orange is just the additional sales they had. You can see how many billions of dollars came from the marijuana industry each year, and also how much it is projected to make all the way up to the year 2020. Without the legalization of medical marijuana, the government would not receive all this revenue from the industry. That is money we could be using for education or government programs. Now that I've told you how legalizing medical marijuana would help our economy, I'll tell you about the negative consequences of not legalizing medical marijuana. are many negative consequences to think about if we don't fight to legalize medical marijuana. Patients that have no other option left but to try medical marijuana would have to completely move their entire lives to another state if it's not legal where they live. Take into consideration leaving their jobs, houses, and families behind. If medical marijuana does not get legalized, that means your friend or family member will have to resort to buying marijuana off the streets from a drug dealer. And I don't think I have to explain why that's not a good idea. They're taking a risk of getting robbed, hurt, or arrested by police, like the picture above. Now that you have heard my reasons and seen my facts, how many of you will show up to the rally in DC for medical marijuana legalization on Monday?
This Monday.
Next Monday.
Yeah.
If this is too much to ask, how many of you will sign this petition online that will be sent to our state governor, Rick Scott?
I love doing those petitions. I'll do petitions.
All right, thank you.